Hi, and welcome back to Monetizely's YouTube channel. My name is Ajit Kuman, CEO of Monetizely, author of the book Price to Scale. This series is called Backstage Pricing. In every video, I will be breaking down the hottest SaaS, AI, and Agentic firms. I'm going to be looking at the pricing page and explaining how we think about their pricing and what that tells me about the company. So let's take a look backstage. Awesome. So in this video, we're going to take a look at Runway ML. Runway is a media generation and a video generation company. All right. So they've done some interesting work. They've actually were in the market even before VO3 or Sora was in the market. So they're some of the early players in this space. But interestingly, even though they had a head start, their revenue is around about 125 million, which is really not bad by any means of imagination. But at the same time, companies like Midjourney have started later and achieved a much higher revenue growth rate. So today, we're not really going to take a look at too much about their product. I understand a lot of movie houses have actually used their product, used their technology. A lot of creative and branding agencies have used it. I want to see what they're doing from a pricing perspective. And I've always liked their product. They've done some really cool videos. Their website has a lot of practical use cases of video generation technology. But if I come down below here and I take a look at pricing, now, when I look at pricing, I look at three main things. The first is the tier structure. The tier structure is the thing that is directly always needs to be proportional to the customer segmentation. And the best way I can explain this is that just like an airline has first class seats, business and economy class to make the right amount of money, so do software products. The second question is the key pricing metric. What metric have they selected? Is it the right one? And how does that scale over all of their tiers? And finally, the price point. All right. So I can see that they do have a freemium offering, and then they have basically 5 tiers overall. 3 of these tiers you can buy upfront, and one of them is the enterprise tier that you can buy with a custom discussion. My immediate reaction when I look at the number of tiers, as well as the price point the tiers are at, is that if you look at products such as 11 Labs, they are offering you to purchase up to even 1100 and above dollars of credits upfront and use it just by inputting your credit card. So I'm wondering why they do not have a tier that is at a higher dollar value than this, and they're forcing the conversation with enterprises, whereas that is not something other firms are doing. Now, one of the reasons could be that they actually want to have more of an enterprise sales motion, and they want to really have a bespoke fit with the customers. But I do wonder if adding a tier between unlimited and enterprise, somewhere in the 300 or so ballpark, so 15, 35, 95, they're almost like 3xing pricing with every tier. I wonder if there is a customer segment out there that would be more willing to pay at that price point. Now, let's take a look at credits. So the free plan offers 125 credits. What is a credit? If I go to this tooltip, it mentions that a credit is 25 seconds of Gen 4 Turbo, I believe video, image to video, and Gen 3 Alpha Turbo, image to video as well, right? So 25 seconds is not a lot, but enough to get a taste for what the product does. And as this scales, for $15, you get 625 credits. So that's 52 seconds of Gen 4 or 125 seconds of Gen 4 Turbo. And then for 35, you get 127 seconds of Gen 4 and 450 seconds of Gen 4 Turbo. So let's take a look at what is the dollar per credit, right? So most companies in the generative AI space are going to have a bunch of different models, and they're going to ascribe different amount of credits to the usage of the models. That has become standard practice, and I believe that is the right way to go, because different models and different algorithms cost different amount of inference cost and processing cost. So of course the amount of credits that they charge will be different. I want to see what is happening across these tiers. So what is the dollar per credit and how that scales? So if I do 15 divided by 625, I see it start at 2.5 cents per credit essentially. And then on the next leg, let's look at how that scales. 35 by 2250, and that's 1.5 cents. So it makes sense economically to buy Pro, and I like that. But $95 here gives you 2250 credits monthly, but they actually let you generate as much Gen 4 Turbo, Gen 4 image and video, unlimited. They have an explore mode that lets you have unlimited generation of video. And that is something I'm wondering is whether that is appropriate for this tier, or whether they could have limited this unlimited generation. Now they are saying that this is at a relaxed rate, which means that the production, the time in which you get this output is not going to be quick enough. And they're saying what we're going to constrain is these credits for a more prompt response, but we're going to give you many more videos here in unlimited in additional to the videos that you're getting with this prompt response. So on this screen, they talk about this unlimited print, right? They talk about this explore mode that does things at a relaxed pace, and it may take time for you to generate the video. And it says it applies to frames and generative video products such as text, image to video, and video to video. These video tools have access to explore mode, which allows to create infinite video generation at a relaxed rate. But it also includes 2250 credits to use on tools outside of frames and generative video, or to generate faster videos in credits mode, right? And then you can buy credits if you want extra. All right, so here is my critique about this. You're offering these unlimited generations in explore mode. What is really the value of unlimited generation? And could the unlimited generation have been chunked off so that you could have created another higher tier compared to unlimited, and you could have given unlimited more credits and given that other tier the sort of unlimited relaxed option? That is something that I am curious about in terms of monetization, because it feels like they're doing a good job in terms of volume discounting for credits, but then suddenly they have this tier that they just tend to give it all away, and the fast generation they say, hey, you can buy it. So it seems to be diluting, one, the essence of the fast generation, and two, not really clear what you're getting for this, for why this is unlimited suddenly if you pay this much. The other thing I'm curious about is that when you have this sort of plan, which is a 3-part tariff, a 3-part tariff will generally have a way to buy overage credits. So once I get over through this credits, I should be able to continue my use until I hit $35, where $35 for Pro becomes economical for me. And they have not made the overage fee clear here. For them to have a business that scales more easily, the overage fee should have been clearly written, like 11 Labs definitely does that on their page, so that once you go beyond it, you have the option to either manually turn it on or have it be turned on by default. And that is something that all 3-part tariffs have. 3-part tariffs is also the cell phone plan model. So let's say you've done your 5 GB data, you start to get hit overage unless you stop the data consumption or you go to the next tier. And of course, you'll keep getting alerts from the carrier, but that is a way to automatically move people through the tiers instead of adding more friction in the process. And there are friction across these tiers, which friction need not necessarily exist. As far as price points are concerned, that is a little bit hard to say whether they are good or bad. Generally, you will see generative AI companies starting at a very low number, $0 or $15, so that they can get adoption. But really, the price points are determined more on what are other generative companies doing. I guess in this case, they would be comparing to companies like Veo3, but also how much it costs for them to produce. And for Gen AI companies, the cost of production has really been high. It has been coming down for sure. You don't really know whether they're making any money on these $15 or $35 plans. It could just be a price point for them to get people in their ecosystem. So the 3 decisions for any pricing structure are the tier structure, which has to correlate with the segmentation. And I envision that there is a segment that could pay more just by credit card without going to enterprise. Number 2 is the pricing metric. I think credit is the right pricing metric, but it is confused by the fact of this relaxed rate unlimited mode, which may dilute this credit. If anything, they could have had a conversion from their fast generation mode to their explore mode. An explore mode could have consumed far fewer credits, and then their economy for their product would have been more self-contained and undiluted. And finally, the price point, I do not have much of a critique on. I feel like the price point was selected from a cost perspective, but again, I am thinking about a missing price point here that could be making them a lot more money, especially as a lot of the use cases that they mention are not amateur use cases. They are actually enterprise use cases, movie use cases, ad generation use cases, which behooves them to have a higher plan. So that's my quick backstage pricing take on Runway ML.